Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Let's rock and roll that rabbit hole. Wow, real miniature dinosaurs. It's all part of the tourist attraction. I thought it was pretty funny. So what I did was reverse the clip, slowed it down, and zoomed in for you. You can tell more easily that they are a small creature known as cotis, a small furry animal indigenous to South America. Pretty funny clip though.
Yo, we are straight up, oh my god.
Okay.
Oh, this is really dangerous. Oh my god.
If zombies come out of nowhere and invite me,
Oh my god.
Yeah, I think that clip might be a few years old now, but if you've ever experienced it, you feel like you're in another world. I believe the cause of this is forest fires.
Some say they've added 1,000 years to our history. Others say that the golden age has already came, that Christ has returned. His 1,000-year golden reign has came and passed, and with looking at all those grand structures, the world's fairs, all of that, it makes sense, especially when you look at what date was depicted in those days. All of them had an I or a J at the end, meaning this coin was from the year 643, and this one from the year 600. Certainly are many cases of altered history, like this building in Naples. Seemingly a whole 1,000 years was added to that. I'm reminded always of one of my favorite quotes from 1984. Every record has been destroyed or falsified. Every book has been rewritten. Every picture has been repainted. Every statue and street building has been renamed. Every date has been altered. History has stopped. And a plaque here in San Francisco too. It looks like that one at the beginning was added after the fact. There can be various reasons why historical events or information may be misrepresented or inaccurately portrayed. Some common reasons include political agendas, cultural biases, attempts to control the narrative, or simply human error. Just look at the Latin saying for Jesus. I or J for Jesus. Let me know what you think, friends. Question everything. Until next time.
When I say history is a lie, I mean his story is a lie. So, Napoleon once said, history is a set of lies agreed upon. And the way that they're able to achieve this is to take away 1,000 real years and replace them with 1,000 fake years. If you look into old coins, at the start of the date, you will see a letter J. You can even find them on old buildings. This J, throughout history, gets changed into a 1. So it no longer says 827, but the year 1827. Sometimes it gets changed into a letter I. Can you see that? This coin clearly shows 654, but the label in the museum will say 1654. There's no excuse for this one, because it doesn't even have an I or a J. So to the untrained eye, that says 1648, but that's a J, so that's really 648. They've added 1,000 years to our timeline.
You could absolutely rewrite history with 1,000 years worth of time.
This footage proves that people 100 years ago were more advanced in many technologies than we are, and now I'm going to show you technologies of the past that are unbelievable. For example, this archival footage from as far back as 1925. Don't you notice anything strange? They show a car driving without a human being because this is the first Opel car on autopilot. What about this anti-theft suitcase? When a thief picks up the suitcase, 3 giant pins shoot out of it and the handle clamps down on his hand. But if the thief did try to escape, you could easily catch him with this net shooting device where he wouldn't stand a chance. And in these shots from 1950, there's a folding mini electric motorcycle that could go up to 70 kilometers per hour. Would you ride one of these? But most of all, we were surprised by these giant monocycles of 1930, which could accelerate to almost 100 kilometers per hour and were very easy to control. But why did they hide all this technology from us?
Did you know there was an electric moving sidewalk 123 years ago at the World's Fair in Paris, stretching 543 acres along the Seine River? The grounds of the 1900 Exposition Universelle were the biggest in history. And just like all the other World's Fairs, almost everything was destroyed afterwards, including this incredible electric moving sidewalk. It was elevated above the street on a 23-foot tall iron viaduct and consisted of 3 sections. One was stationary while the other ones moved continuously at 3 miles per hour and 6 miles per hour. The 2.5-mile loop was constructed around the perimeter of the central square. Using the 6 miles per hour walkway allowed visitors to circumnavigate the square in roughly 25 minutes, all while standing still and sightseeing. The predecessor of this walkway was at an earlier Chicago World's Fair. Along the same route but moving in the opposite direction was an elevated railway system that visitors could use to get around more quickly. However, the electric walkway could accommodate up to 14,000 people at one time. On its busiest day, it carried 70,000 people in one afternoon. The gigantic scale of the exposition made it virtually impossible to see everything, which is why the Rue de l'Avenir was so popular. It was both convenient and entertaining. One visitor described it as a giant wooden snake with its tail in its mouth. At Ouroboros of Paris, we're told that this structure was only temporary, but it had iron foundations just like the Eiffel Tower, and many other masterpieces of architecture that were destroyed. Even the Eiffel Tower was supposed to be demolished. Most of these things would probably still be standing today, and would be iconic landmarks like the Eiffel Tower turned out to be. These events are the plot holes of history. You really have to ask yourself, why would they destroy such amazing things? And why is it the same story all over the world?
Moving sidewalks and monocycles. I bet if science hadn't been suppressed in the last 100 years, with only profits in mind, I can only imagine the amazing inventions we'd have. Where's my hoverboard?
Since when does the moon do this? Never ever have I seen the phasing of the moon go down and up. Usually the phasing of the moon goes left to right. So does this mean the sun is going north to south now? Also, if you look more closely, the phasing of the moon is being caused by some other disk being blocked right in front. If you can see right here in the moon's a perfect circle, but then you can see a different shade of gray that's protruding out from where the upper edge of the moon would be. There's another circular disk covering the moon. But since when does the phasing of the moon go down and up and down? Usually it's left and right. No way.
This one I found interesting. My question is, if this man has been in this geographic location and always seen the crescent from left or right, why is he seeing it from up to down or down to up?
Why is no one talking about the fact that the bee population has decreased by 80% since 2024? 80 freaking %. If the bee movie hasn't taught you anything, let me explain why this is important. NBC reports that the death of the bee population continues to increase and could ultimately take a hit on our grocery bills, making everything much more expensive. Bees are responsible for $17 billion in agriculture production every single year. Alina Nino, who runs the Bee Health Hub, says, so if you have a loss of pollinators that are pollinating these crops, prices of food are probably going to go up. The bee population is so valuable that thefts of bee colonies has increased by 87% since 2013. And seemingly none of the mainstream media is talking about this. No one knows for sure why the bee population is dying at the rate that they're dying at, but a lot of people are taking the educated guess of, you guessed it, climate change. Whether you believe in climate change or not, it doesn't matter, because the bees are showing us that they're dying due to whatever is going on in our environment. So like I said, if this movie didn't teach you anything, what you need to know is that we need to save our bees and keep them alive.
Shit's hitting the fan as we speak, but it's something nobody's talking about. It's not a nuclear war or an economic crash. It's a slow motion agricultural collapse in our lifetime. The bees are dying at an alarming rate, and when they go, our entire food system goes with them. Every year, nearly 40% of honeybee colonies in the US collapse. Farmers are panicking, scientists are scrambling, and most people have no idea how close we are to a full-scale food crisis. Pesticides, parasites, habitat destruction, it's all to blame. It's not just an environmental issue, it's survival. 1/3 of the food you eat depends on bee pollination. No bees, no peanuts, no almonds, no coffee, no apples, and way more. Prices skyrocket, supermarkets empty out. This is how societies collapse, not all at once, but piece by piece. The bees are the first piece, and if they go, we go.
In the past 8 months, we have lost 80% of our bee population. No bees means no food. We have tornadoes, floods, and fires breaking out everywhere. The worst hurricane season that we have seen in a very long time last year. And I gotta tell you, it's really hard for me to believe that this is all just a big coincidence and that it's happening naturally. Like, I live in Florida, and in March, I get an alert on my phone saying that fires are likely because of hot weather. It's Florida, the hottest state, and it's March, which is far from the hottest month. Like, it is absolutely beautiful outside. So that didn't make any sense. And now this week I'm seeing all these homes devastated from the largest tornadoes that have ever hit the US. And it just really makes you wonder, what is actually going on here?
Now, this seems like a pretty serious situation. You lose the bees and their ability to pollinate everything. It just moves up the food chain. Plus, honey is one of the most amazing substances on Earth. One of the only edibles that can last thousands of years, as it's been found in Egyptian pyramids.
When you wear a mask, when you cover your nose, first and foremost, hypoxia takes place. Hypoxia is lack of oxygen. All right? Atmospheric oxygen levels are set 21%. OSHA, the International Organization for Safety and Health, says the minimum requirement for a healthy person to work, a healthy work environment, is 19.5% oxygen. As soon as you wear a mask, all right, it's reduced down to 15 to 16%. Now, when this oxygen level is reduced, every cell in your body starts to die. Every cell in your body starts to die.
When your brain doesn't get enough oxygen, a condition called hypoxia can occur. The brain receives approximately 20% of the body's oxygen supply, despite accounting for only about 2% of the body's weight. When oxygen supply to the body is reduced or completely cut off, the cells, including brain cells, start to use up their oxygen reserves. If oxygen deprivation continues, the cells switch to anaerobic respiration to produce energy, which leads to the buildup of lactic acid in the cells. The body tries to compensate for the lack of oxygen by increasing heart rate and breathing rate in order to pump more oxygen into the body. However, as oxygen levels continue to drop, the brain cells begin to malfunction and die off. This results in the impairment of the brain's control of the body, leading to hallucination, confusion, impaired judgment, and loss of coordination. The person may experience headaches, dizziness, and nausea. If hypoxia is severe and prolonged, the person may lose consciousness, suffer seizures, or slip into a coma. If oxygen supply is not restored, irreversible brain damage and death can occur.
I'll be very clear on my position with this. I think it's abusive and disgusting that everybody was put into masks, especially the young people. People did some of the worst things possible. Never again. so fake. That AI footage is getting so realistic. I'm going to keep highlighting it here on the channel because it does pose some serious questions. Where will we be in 5 years? Let me know what you think in the comments below.
We are told that the Earth spins at 1,040 miles per hour, while the Earth travels around the Sun at 66,000 miles per hour. Meanwhile, the whole solar system is going inside the Milky Way galaxy at a speed of 490,000 miles per hour. And finally, the entire Milky Way galaxy is darting through infinite space at over 1 million miles per hour.
Spinning, wobbling, and tilting, all at over 1 million miles per hour, and you don't feel a thing.
Alright, so they brought back the direwolf, and now everybody's talking about mammoths and saber-tooths. But here's my question for y'all. What's the one animal that they should never bring back? I got a few ideas. Here's some of them. The Arthroplura. If you don't like bugs, you ain't gonna like this one right here. I don't think any raid's gonna do anything against that as the tank. Up next, we got the Megalodon, size of a school bus. I don't think you want to swim in that. No beaches, no tubs, I'm good. This one goes by many names, Gigantopithecus. Some still think it's around to this day. I'm good. This one's called the Terror Bird. The name alone says it all. A flightless murder chicken. And this one right here is the stuff of nightmares are made of. The Titan boa, a 50-foot snake.
No one realizes that the resurrection of the dire wolf is just a huge hoax. When Colossal Cloning Company announced the successful resurrection of the dire wolf, many people noticed something was off. First, the resurrected dire wolf only has 0.1% of dire wolf DNA. The rest, 99.9%, comes from the gray wolf. It's known that dire wolves and gray wolves are completely different species. So, the creatures they created can't really be called dire wolves, but are just mutated gray wolves. Second, the DNA source is too strange. The DNA came from a tooth found 13,000 years ago and a skull found 72,000 years ago. It's hard to use DNA from such a wide time span as a reliable reference. What's even more suspicious is that Colossal claims the resurrected dire wolf has all the same behaviors as the original. I guess they must have lived with the dire wolves 12,500 years ago to know that.
Man, that's an insanely large wolf, bro. It's about to kill us.
Oh, nah, bro. That's a new dire wolf.
What do you mean the new dire wolf?
Yeah, some scientists recreated it in the lab. They brought it back from being extinct almost 10,000 years ago.
Why would they do that? Why would they bring back something that doesn't exist anymore? It's like bringing back a saber-toothed tiger. There's no point. Let it be, bro. It's in the past. Now we're about to be killed by a 600-pound werewolf, bro.
Now those little wolf pups are cute as heck, but that story is trash. Less than 1% dire wolf. Considering how many things are genetically altered these days, I'm just gonna go with big wolf.
Why you at? Why you? Look how thick this one is. God, look at them. Ooh. Let me see your hand real quick. Let me kiss. Yes, sir. What is this? Oh, that's nice. What's them dread? City Trend? Who said I always had the same short song? Quit hating. Lame. Bend over, baby. Come here. That's it. Yes, sir. Got me one. We done. Oh, I almost forgot what I'm supposed to do. Let me check somebody real quick, baby. Ooh. Hey, she ready. Look out. Yes, sir, she ready. You might want to leave with me. On my mama, let me show her something. What I say, y'all? How the bed go? This how the bed go. Look, she like that. Then gonna look back in. Stop playing with me. Look at why you. God, why you? Yes, sir. Why you ain't she thick? This might be the one right here. Yep. Okay. Ooh, let me get up here real quick. Yes, sir. Hey, if you want me, just say that. Cause why you looking at you and I want you? He can't do no with you. Yes, sir. Look at him petting me. Talking about some good boy.
Hey, who doesn't want a friend like that? That's got to be the coolest ape I've ever seen. Looks like he knows what he wants. Can't believe he was shaking his booty.
Inside the bed go. Look, she like that.
So that's all I have for you today. Thanks for coming by, everyone. See you next time.